Welcome to the Untrapped Podcast, where we're motivated and inspired about success, small business, and personal development. And now, Keith Kalfas.
What's up, guys? It's Keith Kalfas. We're back with the Untrapped Podcast. I have an amazing episode for you now. We're live on all platforms, and if you're listening on the Untrapped Podcast, we just crossed 1 million downloads. I'm so excited. First of all, this show is brought to you by Jobber Software. If you want what's probably the best software in the world to run your business, it does billing, invoicing, payment collection, also uses AI to pick up the phone, talk to your customers, has a receptionist that does everything. I've been using Jobber to run my business for 6 years now. I don't know how I'd run my business without it. Customers can even leave tips with Jobber tips, and customers leave us tips often. And then it asks them for the positive 5-star review, and they do it. So I'm really excited. You can get a totally free 2-week trial and a huge discount with my exclusive link by open up your browser and go to getjobber.com/Kalfas. My last name, Kalfas. Since I'm a Jobber ambassador, you can get a huge discount with my exclusive link, getjobber.com/Kalfas. Let's get into the show. So today's guest is somebody a lot of people in the home service industry already know and respect a lot. We have Joe Cunningham. Joe Cunningham from technicalartscenter.com and home service checklist, as you can see on his hat. And this guy has single-handedly helped more people succeed in the HVAC industry than anybody in the world. And his superpower is he can help anybody who's, well, I'm going to let him tell you about that in a minute, but he can help people succeed in their business. And he's definitely an expert. So he didn't just talk about business on his journey. He built it from the trenches of doing he's the first guy to do over $1 million a year in HVAC in the industry. And he's built multiple successful companies. Joe has become one of the most trusted voices teaching contractors how to actually make money, systemize, and scale. And if you're an entrepreneur, contractor, or somebody looking to level up your life and business, pay close attention because Joe's got real world wisdom earned through experience. Joe, welcome to the Untrapped Podcast. Welcome.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoy coming on these shows, and I've been looking forward to talking to you for a long time.
I'm honored, brother. So you said that you've helped more people become successful in their businesses. Can you talk about that and systemizing
Sure.
and scaling? And those, like, what are some of the things people go through? And then the bridges where their brain gets over some type of wall or self-limiting belief, and then they actually wake up to the fact that they can actually grow their business. Like, how do you help people do that?
Well, I've seen a lot of permutations in the business because I've been doing this for almost 40 years now. When I first started, I was working with technicians who had been in the field since, for 20 years, 25 years then. And I started in 1988 or 1989 working with distributors and manufacturers. That means some of these guys go back into the 60s as to when they started. So the differences in the business were huge. And as we looked at all these businesses and different manufacturers and distributors asked me to help their contractors grow because they saw what I did, what we found out real quickly was nobody did anything the same way. People were out there. You had a successful plumbing business, you had a successful HVAC business, you had a successful whatever business, but everybody ran freestyle. How do you run a call? Well, I hire guys that know what to do, and I send them out there and I tell them to do it. Well, what the hell does that mean? And they said, but in doing it that way, I have some guys do real well, I have some guys do real bad, and a few guys are in the middle, and it's hard to move them out of the middle up to the good. And I said, well, what's keeping them from getting to the good? And they said, well, they just don't know how to do it. So after working with a lot of contractors like that back then, we talked to a lot of people that were business experts and really growing businesses, and we adapted some of the stuff that I was doing, which as I developed it, because I came from other industries, turned out into the real key to getting these guys to be successful was to put a system together so everybody in your company did the same thing. And that was key. That was our first big success hit. So I built some training programs, and it was built around how do we run a service call? How do we run a sales call? What are the steps we take? What do we do when we're in the field? What do we do when we first meet the customer? What do we do when we go in the house? How do we explain to the customer what we're going to do? How do we find stuff and get the customers to actually think we're just not going around and looking for stuff and making things up in an attempt to try and sell them something? And then how to get them to want us to come back over and over and over again. And I had a lot of good mentors in that. Ron Smith was one of my mentors, and I watched what he did in Florida. There was some amazing things being done back then that nobody had ever done in our industry before. So I guess the big breakthrough point was put everybody on a system that worked. So we had to take my system and we had to take some other systems and intertwine them. And the more we did systems and the better the people got as business owners to doing the same thing the same way every time, you watch this growth that had not been there before because they were growing by luck. Everybody, when they wanted to look for new help, they'd run an ad in the newspaper, wanted experienced tech. Well, what the hell did that mean? A guy would come in and say, I got 10 years of experience. And then you go through his resume and you find out he really doesn't have 10 years. He's got 1 year 10 times. And getting this guy to do anything I want him to do was almost impossible. So through our systems, we found out that we needed ways to do things. And the most amenable thing to do was find guys that didn't know how to do much and just teach them this way. So they always did things correctly. So we started taking younger guys and newer guys into the industry, and we take them and put them on a path to success. Here's how you do maintenance. Then we teach them to do maintenance for a while, and then here's how you do service. Here's how you do installs. Here's how you sell. So we went through that whole process, and it was all about building systems. And from doing that, I guess selling air conditioning on my own door-to-door in my own home improvement company was the first start. And then I started working with some distributors and manufacturers. And that was really a huge help to me and the way I put things together, because they wanted me to help all their contractors grow. So that's when we really started with more and more in-depth systems. And through that, because they put me in front of a lot of people, and then going from working with distributors and manufacturers to best practice groups, I went from working with Carrier and Train, both of which I wrote training programs for, into a best practice group, which was Contractor Success Group. And I helped them build what they called Future University, which was their educational arm. Contractor Success Group was run by Jim Abrams and John Young. And from Contractor Success Group, they asked me to help them put service experts together. And then that was even a bigger validation that systems were the things that helped people grow. So when I started training with Carrier and getting in front of all these people, I started counting the number of techs that came to our programs and the number of people we actually trained. And so from starting in 1999 until 2008, when I stopped, I had effectively trained over 30,000 techs. It was a huge amount of techs because I was now speaking with distributors, manufacturers, best practice groups. And then they'd ask me to do keynote speeches at these conventions and talk about systems and how we put it in place. So we built better and better and better systems. And a lot of people jumped on the systems bandwagon. I mean, everything. You ask them, what's the most important thing? Systems, 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 systems. And then as I went further with this systems thing, I found out that systems were kind of the most important thing. But the most important thing, even more than systems, was implementation. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't teach you the system, you wouldn't know what to do. But if I couldn't help you get the discipline to implement it, all the systems in the world didn't work. Because, the one thing that would happen is I'd give this presentation. Everybody wants to train in the spring and the fall in the air conditioning business. Why do you want to train in the spring and the fall? Because the phone isn't ringing. So I might as well do some training. So we do it. And I'd go there and say, you were an air conditioning contractor, and you're sitting there learning the systems.
Quick thing, if you saw me glancing down at anybody, I am looking at my phone. I'm making sure that the Facebook feed is coming through, because the last show people said it was getting a little choppy. So I'm just making sure the resolution so you can hear and see everything Joe is saying. So just making sure.
Okay, so
it's important.
Back again to you were an air conditioning contractor and you came to the class. So we'd learn all this stuff and you got your workbooks and you take them home and you're excited. And then I'd see you in the fall and I'd say, hey, Keith, how did this process work? And you'd say, well, Joe, we went home and we put that stuff in place, and man, we were doing it our tickets went up and our callbacks went down. We were generating a lot of leads. And then right after spring, you never guess what happened, Joe. I said, no, what happened, Keith? Summer came. Can you believe it? I was absolutely surprised. Summer came after spring. And so we got busy and we were in a hurry and we didn't have time to do that system. So we didn't implement it anymore. And we ran a lot of calls, but we still didn't make any money. So I'd ask them, well, why didn't you make any money? Well, because of me having the guys run 3 or 4 calls a day, we were real busy. I had them run 8, so they couldn't do all that stuff you said. So they didn't sell any extra products. They didn't look around to see what was wrong. That caused our tickets to be low and our callbacks to go up. But boy, we ran some calls. And what was the problem? After so many years of seeing that, training these people over and over and over again to put the systems in place, but then not give them the discipline to implement every part of it every day, it would just start falling apart. So then the next stage in my development was, how do I get these guys and ladies that own these businesses to actually do what we wanted them to do?
If you are looking for the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, and track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. If you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, getjobber.com/Keith. And after the trial, if you decide to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith.
So I'd meet with the contractors and they said, well, we loved what you said.
Can I got to interject something. If I see I don't just thought of there's a bunch of ducks in there and water and oil spilled and there's oil all over them. I'd be like, nope, we got to take one at a time and we got to perfectly put Dawn dish soap in, I'm talking about. We got to clean it. The other ones, and they're you got to save as many as you possibly can as fast, triage. So it's you said, because you're talking about systems and you said, as soon as the floodgates open, all hell breaks loose and they don't follow the systems. Everything falls apart because they have this triage thing going on. And then I'm laughing in my head because I had an epiphany. I was like, oh, the system is the way to scaling. But then I also felt in my own business now, we're booked out for 2 months of landscaping like crazy right now. And I was like, how do you actually slow down and follow a system when the phone's ringing off the hook and all that? So you're about to get into that right now.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of echoing back that we're listening to Joe. Keep going. This is good.
And the guys would say, well, we got so busy we couldn't do this. So because I don't have enough techs. I said, well, now you see part of the problem. Number one, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you don't have enough techs. Well, why don't you have enough techs? Because I have a slow time. Well, why do you have a slow time? Well, I guess it's because I'm not doing the stuff that you told me to do. So when is the best time to find techs? During a slow time, and then you train them to do what you need them to do, and then you make sure you got some extra guys so you don't have to run 8 calls a day. You only run 3 or 4. So then we started putting in implementation programs. And it's how do I make sure that Keith and John and Bob did everything that we wanted them to do on this call. So the guy said, well, we got to have a way to check. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. To make sure everybody does the same exact thing, we're going to sit here and we're going to design a checklist of every task you want done on every single call. And then we're going to introduce it to the guys and we'll get them to buy in that we should do all this stuff. And then because they buy in, then they'll want to do it, which was my thought, which had worked in the past for when I worked a lot of sales guys. So we created this list. They were beautiful. And we'd have a meeting and you were there and the other techs are there. And I'd say, hey guys, the way we're really going to do better for all of our customers is if we have this list and we do it on every job. Do you see the value of doing all of this stuff? Do you see why we do this? Would this help us grow? Everybody, yeah. And then after our meeting, the techs had another meeting. It's called the meeting about the meeting. What are we going to do about the meeting? After they leave and go out by the dumpster to smoke a cigarette, and they decide what they're going to do on the list. And so we found out compliance with the list, with me giving them the lists, they did what they wanted to do, and then they didn't do. There was always some kind of excuse for not doing what they didn't want to do. Like, why didn't you do that today, Keith? Well, it was too hot. It was too cold. It was too rainy. It was too sunny. The moon was in the wrong phase. My right foot hurt, or whatever. There's always a reason to not do that, even though it could be the most profitable part of the job. So we thought, well, how do we get more compliance? And I said, I know what we'll do. We'll make them take a picture of all of this stuff, and then they'll turn the pictures in, and that way we'll know they did it. So we talked about taking pictures and how that would help us keep a better record and do better. And everybody's now going to do the checklist, and they're now going to take the pictures. And they took the pictures, but some guys got really creative with the pictures. Like our service techs, we made them take the blower assembly out on every call. You have to take a picture of it. But some of them would figure that, well, I could take one out and I could set it here, and I could get this angle and that angle and this angle and that angle and that angle and that angle. And that would work for about 6 jobs. So I just tell them we took the picture, and I turned in one picture on each one. And it all comes around though, because we had one guy ask my service manager, I said, hey, is this guy taking pictures on everyone? Oh yeah, he gets the best results. He gets pictures of all the calls. I said, well, let me see some of his calls. Pull them up. We're still on paper. I said, show me the pictures. So he shows me this series of pictures over 2 days. And one thing that I noticed, this guy always drank the same color Gatorade, and the bottle was always at the same level because he forgot to take it out of the damn picture. So then as time went on, we had to get more and more and more compliance, and the pictures helped, the lists helped, but still implementation, was the big issue. How do I get the guys to do this on every call? So as time went on, people started talking about this new stuff, new technology called apps. Now, I didn't know what the hell an app was. I could spell it. Because I was a pretty good speller, so I could spell apps, but I didn't know what an app was. They said, well, there's an app to get you or people to do anything you want them to do. I said, how the hell does that work? And they told me how they worked. I said, damn, I'd like to have an app for the service business. Not sure how I would lay that out, but I'd like to have one. So I thought, well, if I could just take our list and put it in this app thing, however you get in there, I don't know how you get it in there, because I don't even know how the app got in a damn computer, but it was in there. So I thought, if I could just slide this piece of paper in one of the little slots on my computer and it'd show up my app, then I could make the text do all the stuff on there. And if they didn't do everything on the list, it wouldn't let them finish. And I thought that would be it. Do it. So now my techs have to perform all the tasks. And then at the end of every call before he leaves, because we only give one call at a time, he has to call in and talk to my dispatcher and say, okay, I'm done. But he can't send this app form over to him. So that means he's not done. So my dispatcher will make him go back and do it. And then they told me in the app, if you have a summary in there, you can actually set it up so when you hit the summary button, if Bob didn't do what you wanted him to do, it was just like a form on the internet. You forgot to put your zip code, it'd take you right back, and it wouldn't let you stop until you put it there.
I like that.
I was like, damn, that's cool. So then I started looking for somebody to build an app because I didn't know how to build an app. If you depended on me to build an app, I'd use like 2x4s or something because I don't know what's there. So I looked around and people told me, well, there's people that build apps. So look on the internet for app builders. So I did. And I went on the internet and I started contacting all these people, and I got all these prices, like from $350 to $35,000 to build this app. And I thought that is way too big a spectrum for anybody to know what the hell they're even talking about. So I went back and forth, and I never could find anybody to do this for me. So I had met Tommy Mello along the way and doing different things. I'd been to his place. I was on his podcast. I heard about what he was doing in the garage door business. The guy is absolutely brilliant. So he's grown his garage door company, I'd been out to see him a couple of times. We went out to dinner. And I was talking to him on the phone about stuff we were doing. And he said, well, Joe, next time you're in Phoenix, he said, give me a call. You can come out and see my new house. I bought a new house. It's really cool. You need to see it. So I said, okay. So I was in Phoenix meeting with the train distributor there, doing some training sessions. So I called Tommy up. I said, I'm in town. You want to go have a beer? He said, sure. He said, here's my address. Just come on over. We'll have a beer at the house. And you can show me. I'll show you the house. So I go to the house. I mean, this is a big ass house. It's like you need a golf cart to get around this place. You know, he shows me the kitchen. He shows me the diner. He shows me the backyard. Then he shows me the garage. He said, I got to show you the garage. So we're standing in the garage. He said, no, I got another garage. So we go to the other garage, and he's got like the DeLorean that they used in that movie where the Back to the Future. He's got that in there. So he's got a lot of really cool shit. So we're sitting there and talking, and then we go out and we have another couple beers. And you know how it is when a couple guys that know each other sit around and have some beer and start talking about business. So we talk about a lot of different things. And I said, you know, one thing I want to do, Tommy, I said, I want to build an app that I can show all the contractors that I know that'll help them make sure all their techs and their installers and their sales guys, everybody that works for them, does everything the same way. And it makes sure that we do everything on every job. Because I know if you have a business and you're running technicians in the field, whether they're working on garage doors or on air conditioners or plumbing or doing landscaping, you can tell them what you want them to do, but that doesn't really mean they're going to do everything. So he says, well, what do you want your app to do? I said, well, here's what I wanted to do. I want to be able to write a checklist of everything I want, like a template, and put it in there and give it to my tech. And he goes out on the job and he has to do everything on the template or he can't check out and debrief and leave the job. He said, damn, I'd like to have an app like that too. He said, you want a partner? So I said, sure. So we became partners on this new project, which is the home service checklist. And that is an app, and it's the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my life, because you can give it to a tech. It doesn't matter what trade you're in. You know, we've got it set up for plumbing, electrical, HVAC. We've got a guy, I think, that runs a trucking company. There's all kinds of companies in there. And we custom build a template just for you. My templates are in there, so you can customize them. And I mean, you could take my template and turn it into landscape, and you just customize a template in there. So we have those templates in there. When the guy gets there, he puts the customer's name in there. The address is already populated, and it just starts. Now, for the air conditioning side, we have a before troubleshooting template. And I'll just use that as an example. So I can take a very green guy. Let's say I just got you out of training school. And you get the before troubleshooting template, and you go through there. Check power here, check power there, check this here, check that there. And you go through that report, and you still don't know what the hell's wrong with it, but you finish the before troubleshooting checklist, so you send that to your service manager. And he says, okay, Keith, according to what you found wrong, this is what's wrong with that system. Go fix it. So then you put your air conditioning template in there. It's got every component on the heating and cooling system. So you can find them, and then you can test them. And we're building a knowledge base in there now. So if you're, again, that green guy, and you're going down the checklist, and you say, damn, I forgot how to do that. We got a damn, I forgot how to do that button coming. Because you can hit that button, and a PDF or a video comes up and shows you how to perform the task. And it doesn't matter what task it is, because you can build your own videos and put them in there. It's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. So now the guy goes through there and he performs all the tasks, and he gets to the bottom and it says summary. So he hits summary. And if he did everything on there, AI will write him a summary of everything that he did. All the stuff that were mandatory that you wanted him to do, you click the mandatory button as you set up your template. I want a picture of this. Now, if he's required to take a picture, it means he also has to write a comment. So you've got every task, how it's performed, every component, the condition it's in, a picture of everything that was mandatory, plus his comments of what he found. So he's found everything wrong on his job. So he has a complete list to show the customer. And if he's not a good salesperson, if he hadn't learned to communicate yet, he hits send to office. So a guy like you is sitting in the office and you call the customer and you say, hey, Mr. Customer, this is Keith over at Keith's Landscaping Company. And my tech Bill was working in your yard and he found some things he was really concerned about. So I had him take some pictures and he sent me those pictures. And quite frankly, after I saw those pictures, I was concerned myself. Would you mind if I shared that with you? You know what the answer to that is every time?
Go ahead.
Gosh, what's wrong? And then you get to make the presentation. But the benefit you have is your tech is standing right there. So you can say, hey, Bob, why don't you show Miss Johnson those brown spots out there that are caused by this? Why don't you show her how this bush is doing this and this bush is doing that and how this is overgrowing here and how we have to fix that? Or on the air conditioning side, show Mrs. Johnson how this is failing. Show her the readings on that. Show her how this is off. So you are orchestrating this whole situation, and the end result is this. Every task has been performed, which means that every problem has been found. And the reality of any service, I don't care which one it is nobody buys a solution to a problem they don't know they have. I just found them all.
Dude, this is awesome.
The second reality is this. Nobody ever buys anything that they really want that they think costs too much at point of purchase. I just made them want it. And the third point is money's only important if that's the only thing I understand. We presented everything to them before we ever gave them a price. We made them see they have the problem. We provided a solution. We gave them the price. And then all we have to do is allow them to buy it. And when we put that system together and we implement the whole thing, it is the most amazing process I've ever seen in my life. We got an air conditioning contractor in Henderson, Texas. I don't know if you know where that is, but Henderson is not big. And he will run 50, 75 miles out in the country with almost all green technicians. His tickets are doubling and tripling. His callbacks have dropped to nothing. And these guys are creating leads while they're out there and selling things they've never thought of before and making the customers happy and getting 5-star reviews like you'd never believe.
All right, real quick, I want to tell you about something that honestly blew my mind. If you run a landscaping business, pressure washing, window cleaning, or really any home service business, you already know how important your website is. But most guys either have a terrible website or they paid some designer thousands of dollars and it still doesn't bring them any leads. That's why I partnered with a company called Rebolt. Rebolt uses AI to actually build and optimize your website so it ranks on Google and helps you show up when customers search in your area. We're talking about professional website design built for local SEO and optimized to help you show up in the Google 3-pack. This is not one of those junk AI website builders. These guys are legit. If you want to check it out, go to keithkalfas.com/Rebolt. That's keithkalfas.com/Rebolt, REBOLT. Go see what they built. It's seriously impressive.
And that's the point of it all. Systems are great. Implementation and the discipline to do it is the biggest key you'll ever find.
Interesting. This is like a whole chunk of the pie of the puzzle.
It is the biggest piece. It is like you got to cut the center out of the apple pie and you left all the dried up crust there. You got all the important part. Because the reality is this, the technician is there to see what the problems are. His job is to find the problems and sell the customer that they've got the problems. If you will just sell the problems and get the customers to want it fixed, they buy the solution from you. And money goes away. You charge too much. I want to get more bids. I think I need to get another price. I need to talk to my Uncle Bill in Poughkeepsie. all of that stuff goes away because you have made this problem or the problems the primary focus of our home visit, and he is now asking you for the solution. How much more do you want a tech to do? How much more do you want a retail salesperson to do? You know, I've trained the highest producing technicians in this industry. Maybe he's probably number 2 now, but I trained a tech that has sold, and not just 1 year, multiple years, $5 million worth of products and services out of the back of a truck. There's a hell of a lot of companies don't sell $5 million. And this guy was an installer when I met him. So how did he do that? He learned
Joe, you got people laughing in the comments. Troy6679 said, Uncle Bill in Poughkeepsie, and he's crying laughing. There you go. Eric Martinez says, love the content. Elevate Lawn says, been watching since he started his landscape business. Congrats, bro. Okay, keep going, man. This is good.
But, you know, this is how you put it together. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You know, when you talk about the landscaping business, my son went to LSU. His last year there, he spent working for a landscape company in Baton Rouge. So he came home. We have a ranch just outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. He worked around the ranch for a while. And then he went to work for a roofing company. And he sat and listened to lots of the presentations that I made. And he said, Daddy, how do you canvas? We got to go knock doors. What do you do when you got there? So here's how you do it. Well, what do you say when they open the door? I said, well, this is how you get the interest. And then when they look at you because you're working for this roofing company, you know, how do I help them understand all that? So we got to take the pictures and you got to make it real. And your presentation's got to mean something to them. You can't come down and say you got 36 squares and it's going to cost this much. That you've got this problem. This is how we solve the problem. And we put on a roof that you won't have to worry about for a long time. Is that what you're looking for? Or are you just looking for something short term? Just ask them the question. You get the answer that you want. Now you found out what they're looking for. Then you make it fit. Within about 6 weeks, he became their top producing sales guy. He went down for a wedding to Baton Rouge and he talked to the guy that was running the landscape business down there. This guy has hired him away from the roofing company down there to come and run the crews and to solicit new businesses. And the good part about it is they work in a lot of high-end neighborhoods where there's no solicitation, but you're allowed to go door to door and talk to the neighbors if you're working there. This kid will knock them dead. He's a tall, young, good-looking kid, and he's going to make a lot of money in the business because he goes and he finds a problem and he sells a solution. If my kid can do it, anybody can do it. Any technician can do this. Any salesperson can do this. I have never had a technician come to any of my classes and say, Joe, I just can't do this, because I make it so easy. You know, the process of meeting your customer, going up to the door, knocking on the door, set yourself apart. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but say, as you turn around and point at your truck, hey, Miss Johnson, I parked my truck right there. Is that okay? Or should I move it? Do you know how much credibility that buys you with the homeowner? Just that one thing. And who has ever asked the homeowner that? And then take your list, say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Now, in the air conditioning business, we got to go inside. Plumbing business, we got to go inside. I got to tell them what we're doing. This woman's never met us before. She's there by herself or with the kid. She doesn't know me. So I got to make her comfortable with me going all over this house, doing whatever I want to do. So I ask her if I can come inside, put my shoe covers. I go in there. I ask her to see the thermostat. Sometimes they tell me where it's at. And I just tell them, you know, I understand. I don't want to disturb you while you're working, but you know what? There's some questions I might have to ask you when we get there. They're pretty important. You wouldn't mind going with me, would you? Thanks. And I just turn and go. The customer comes right with me every time. And I get to ask questions. It's the same thing on a lawn crew. You know, I've been here. If you noticed anything in your lawn, I don't know the exact questions I would ask on a lawn crew, but I could come up with some questions to get this customer to leave the front door and come walk around the yard with me and point out spots they really love, point out spots that they got to work on. Right now, when they tell you the spots that they'd like changed or they'd like you to work on, they just told you they want to buy something. So what can I do while I'm here? Why wouldn't you want to know that? I want to make sure you're real happy with your lawn. I know we haven't walked it together. Would you mind taking a minute and just walking around here? Let's take a look at the parts that you really like. Take a look at the things you like to improve. Let's see if there's anything that I can help you with while I'm here. Maybe there's a few tweaks I can make. I don't know, but I'd be glad to do it.
You got me kind of thinking here. So instead of like increasing the average ticket of every job and increasing the value and lifetime value of each customer, you're spending more time with each customer. So therefore you're building a relationship, you're getting a referral. So it's like you're systematizing with each customer instead of running all over the place like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to get as many jobs as you can. Yeah, it's like they're falling through the cracks. You're increasing the value of each one so you can grow it the right way.
Here's the thing. And I want you to think about something. If on every job we increase our revenue by just 10%, and if you do it the right way, you're usually going to get 15 or 20. But if you just increased it by 10%, it won't be long before you can run one less call a day and bring in the same revenue. Now, when I run one less call a day, bringing in the same revenue, what did I just do to my overhead? And then I hire another crew to put in the truck, because if I had 3 crews out there that were running 4 calls a day and I got it where they could run 3 more profitable ones, that means I had them running 4. That means I already had 12. I got enough leads and enough yards for this new guy and his crew to go on to do the same thing. And it doesn't take long before you got enough work for another crew that are running less calls, spending more time. I mean, why are you blowing through the yards? You know what neighbors say about you when you're just blowing through the yards? They sure as hell are fast. Yeah, it looks nice too. And that's it. Who does your yard? Keith and his crew. One thing I love about it, they're faster than hell. Looks nice too. That's what you're getting. But wouldn't it be better if who cuts your grass? Keith's guys do, and you wouldn't believe what they do every time they come here. I mean, we take a complete tour of the yard, make sure that I like everything, make sure that I don't want anything changed. We discuss what plantings we might change in the spring and the fall, so we can plan ahead and be ready to do those things. He looked everywhere, at the mulch, at this, that. He really does a great job. You want his number? That's what you get.
We did this. We just finished a job a couple hours ago, and I told my guys to just take an extra 10 minutes. We trim ornamental trees and do landscape jobs. Our average ticket job was $312.50. Then it went up when we learned some of this stuff to $1,649.50, so $1,650. And now our average ticket job this year is $3,000. And I'm really liking the process of slowing down a little bit to do an extra meticulous job and to talk to the customer more, because it's just less exhausting, which is working on a very small level. But you're talking about scaling this to many crews, and this is fascinating to me. How do you keep the man-hour rate up and so it's profitable, and how do you get rid of operational waste and track everything in a disciplined way?
Okay, well, let's talk about it, because you gave me like 3 things.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Now, how do you keep the man-hour thing profitable? Well, if I'm getting more on every ticket, how profitable is driving to another job compared to him being there working?
Let me tell you something most service business owners never realize. You're spending money on Google Ads, Facebook, maybe SEO, maybe yard signs or flyers, but you have no idea which marketing is actually making your phone ring. That's where CallRail comes in. CallRail is call tracking software that shows you exactly which marketing source generated each phone call. So instead of guessing where your leads came from, you actually know. And when you know what's working, you can double down on it and grow your business faster. If you want to try it, go to keithkalfas.com/callrail. That's keithkalfas.com/CALLRAIL.
You know, if I take a look at an 8-hour day and I do 4 jobs, well, I got 3.5, 4 hours of driving around. Are you doing Uber Eats on the way or something so you can pick up some extra bucks? You know, so you're blowing all this money to drive around. So if I took one of those trips off and I could get compensated for that, however much I'm picking up by doing something extra, how am I better off man-hour days? They make me nothing driving. Right?
I'm picking up on something that's very relative to this. It's like the elephant in a room conversation. When it comes to like landscape, we're in the green industry. We do landscaping, lawn care, tree service, plant health care, fertilizer, pest, some of that. It's like, but mowing lawns. And most of the people that are in our industry that cut grass, unless they've been in the game a long time, they have like very severe route density, we call it, and they do HOAs, and then they've tacked on other services. The biggest thing that I see, it's not a complaint, it's a concern. It's that the man-hour rate isn't high enough to grow, and you can't make enough money doing it. And it's a low barrier to entry service. That's why we don't even offer lawn care anymore, because I literally couldn't figure out how to make enough money to even make it work. And some of the guys are able to do that, but depending on how long they've been doing it, anyways. So the reason I'm saying all this is because you talk about like a checklist, and like there's a great book called The Checklist Manifesto, and there's all these books about scaling, and you can tell people how to use scaling and growing and operations and all this stuff all day, but if it funneling all the way back down to them right here, right now, with one or two crews, if they don't even see enough profit, and because they can't charge the prices that they need because the competition is so fierce that they raise the prices a little bit and they've already priced themselves out of the market because it doesn't require any extra special licenses or insurances to even do the thing, then it's like you're like failing before you even get started, because man, that's a whole different topic for a different conversation. I just had to bring it up to validate that anybody that's listening who's thinking of that stuff, but that'd be a different topic for a different conversation.
What I refer to that is call maximization. How do I make more on every call? You know, and I'll give you an example on the air conditioning business side. Missed opportunities that are there by not doing certain things. So on every call a technician runs here, we require him to do several things. And so we'll just talk about the technical things. You must pull the entire blower assembly out of the furnace or air handler. Well, why? It's kind of a pain in the ass. Well, here's what you find out. If I pull every blower assembly, I will find out that 30 to 35% of them need to be disassembled and cleaned. We charge about $400 to do that. I will not find the 35% if I don't pull 100%. If we pull 100%, my guys get very good at doing it. So they're able to do it efficiently, get it out and get it back. When they first start, they're real slow. It's a pain in the ass. By the time they pull them all out for a week, they're friggin' rock stars, getting it out, cleaning it, putting it back. But here's the thing. So our guys run 3 calls a day, 5 days a week, 15 calls. 35% of them are going to have a dirty blower wheel. So they'll find 5. They will sell 3. $1,200 in additional revenue. Same calls. Without any additional revenue. So now, $1,200, there's probably 30 minutes of labor and 50 cents worth of product mix there. So that $1,200 boils down to about, let's say it costs $200 to do it, which is high, but it'll be about $1,000 profit, 50 weeks out of the year, $50,000. For me to make $50,000 net, I'd have to sell $500,000 worth of equipment at 10% net. So should I slow the guys down and pull blower wheels? The answer to that is hell yeah. So what is similar to that in your business? What do people have going on in the yard that they would prefer to have fixed? And you have to look out of the box. You know, when people walk up to their house, they like the front of the house to look good. That's why you're trimming ornamental trees. The same plants don't grow in the spring and the fall. Why don't you plan ahead for that? Why don't you have a twice a year, whatever the number of years, I don't know that much about landscaping. We change all your flowers out. We do this, we do that. We make sure the mulch is in. But put some services together that'll take you a little bit longer, cost you very little to do, and bring you revenue on every call. Then cut down 1 call a day on your crew. Then when you do that, you get another crew to pick that up. You know, it like you said, the barrier is low to landscaping because you don't need licenses, degrees, all that stuff in a lot of places. So, you know, there are people getting in there that'll do it real cheap. But here's the thing. In our neighborhood, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that are there, and they all charge the same thing. None of them want to do landscaping. They all just want to do grass cutting. Blow and go.
We're selling landscape jobs left and right from 5 to 15 grand. These jobs, we just did one 7,500. We got another one next week, 5,400. Another one we just sold for, I don't know, we're working on one right now, 14,300.
Okay, where are your leads coming from?
And
you from the grass cutters or because of the grass cutters?
We have the highest rated and reviewed landscape softscape business in my city because and I'm doing it so long with the most amount of positive 5-star reviews for what we do. And I've learned that when I talk to the customers and meet them on the phone and walk around with them, I don't think they want to hand over 12 grand to some guy who's not fully confident and experienced and everything. This is their house, it's their property. So I think it's the confidence and the experience of me being the salesman. And so you're talking about scaling, and my brain is like, how am I going to find somebody else unless I pay them a lot of money who can literally do, because I'm thinking like a technician, what I do at the level that I do it. Like you were talking about ornamental tree trimming is actually the most profitable service that we do because it doesn't have any cost of goods sold. We're just trimming trees and beautifying and shaping them. But if you're trimming a tree next to a customer's gutter, like you have to know if you could literally clip their gutter and cause damage on their house and you got a big problem. It's like the obsession.
How did you learn?
Huh?
How did you learn?
Oh, because I named my business my last name, which is probably a nice.
No. How did you learn how to do that ornamental tree trimming?
Oh, my friend William, he's an arborist, and this guy taught me. I would have lost my apartment back if it wasn't for him. He taught me all this.
So
stuff.
Somebody taught you how to do it.
I had a mentor, yeah, okay. 3 of them.
So now you had 3 mentors that taught you how to do it. Couldn't you share that knowledge, or are you going to let it just die with you?
All of the knowledge. We need to share this and to teach other people. But you need people who are hungry, because all you need is someone who's hungry. You can't teach a man.
Do you think you could find? Well, do you think you could find one of these entry-level yard guys that are ambitious and only making a little bit every day to hire him away and pay him a little bit more than he's making cutting grass? And teach him how to do that with you there?
I'll just say it. I don't care. My internet business does triple the amount of money that my actual landscape business, and I have 20 part-time people that work for me in the internet business, and it's easy and it's fun. I just find people who are experts, and I do it. It's literally it's like, I mean, it's not that easy, but it's a piece of cake compared to trying to get these guys to do landscaping for $20 an hour. And like.
You found out the same thing that I do. I have primary businesses. My primary business is consulting. I work all over the U.S., Canada, and Australia. I have 2 trade schools where we teach entry-level plumbing and HVAC guys to get into business. We have what's called the fast track program. If you can spell AC on day 1, you're going to be a maintenance tech on day 10. And then I have a heating and air conditioning company. We do plumbing and self-generators. Now, if I take a look at all 3, which requires the most labor and everything? Well, the HVAC, plumbing, and generators do. And which is the most fun? Going to Australia and drinking booze with all my friends till all hours of the morning and going to their companies and getting them to pay me a lot of money. You know, so you're at those 2 ends of the spectrum. But the thing is, sooner or later, somebody's going to have to trim ornamental trees beside you.
I know, man.
You know, and now you are in the perfect position to start something similar to that and then scale that. You know, there's a huge shortage of people in the trades. If you take a look at plumbing and HVAC, average tech is 54 years old. We got more going out than we got coming in. AI can't replace them. There's no way I can fix the wax ring under a toilet that's leaking with AI. I can tell people sit real still and don't rock while you're crapping, but that doesn't fix the toilet. So somebody's got to do that. And AI is not going to trim ornamental trees. Now, here's the thing. If you could train one, you could train two or three. And you might not need, all two or three, but somebody needs the other two.
So I'm good at training. I actually have a 4-step guide of how to train employees. And go to keithkalfas.com/4 steps. You can download the ebook right now to put you on the email list. Anyways, so it's how do you get these guys when you train them to do it at the speed that you, because you run your own business and you're a monster. Boom, boom, boom. You could just bang shit out. How do you get guys to do it so they're not just like stopping at 7-Eleven to get coffees and looks like we're not going to get it on today, boss.
Business owners sit around and ask each other all the time.
Yeah.
How come all these guys won't do what we do? Man, when I was that age, I did this and I did that. These guys, there's something wrong with them. No, there's probably something wrong with you, because how many people really do all this shit? So you are a rather unique breed. So turning someone into you is almost impossible. But here's what's not impossible. Taking the average guy and making him 25 or 30% better. Because there's lots of average guys. Lots. And with a system in place and with implementation in place, making them 25 or 30% better, pretty easy. And out of the 25 to 30% better guys, you will find a rock star.
I created a group called the Untrapped Alliance where we go live every other Wednesday night in a controlled environment. I'm sick of scrolling on social media. I'm sure you are too. Let's get focused on our businesses. We already started the group, so if you join at keithkalfas.com/alliance, you can get access to the replays. And the bonus is we're gonna have special guest experts who run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. They're gonna come on and teach us how to do sales, marketing, persuasion, close higher ticket jobs. These are people who got their shit together. And I'm really excited to have them on. Go to keithkalfas.com/alliance. I'll see you on the Wednesday night call. Let's go.
Ooh.
But it's just like cleaning blower wheels. If I don't clean any blower wheels, I won't find one. If you don't train 3 ornamental tree trimmers, you're not going to find one. If you don't find one, and then find another one next year, another one the next year, you're never going to find the rock star to do what you do.
Dude, just gave me an idea. We have any employee that I have work for me signs 16 documents. It's 43 pages of background check and a drug screen and all this and this and this and this and social media release form because we make videos. But I want them to sign this thing. Actually, I shouldn't say this on the social media because people like, I would never work for you. That's what people, because, man, I can't make this about me. But I have to say what I was going to say now. How do these companies trust all these technicians behind the wheels of their trucks and vans and fleet vehicles? And like I know somebody who went and consulted with a company that had like multiple locations, and they had 1,000 crews all over the country. And they said just while they were there for 3 days, every day there was a car accident that happened in the company. And so it's like, you just make yourself bulletproof with your insurance, and you just understand that stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But what you just said, if I just take 1,000 random people, we're going to have 1 wreck a day. Right? Just pick out 1,000, just go through the store, you come and drive around tomorrow. And I want y'all to all call me at 5 o'clock and tell me what happened in your driving efforts, and one of them will have wrecked the car, if not 2 or 3. Just happens. That's why you buy insurance. You don't buy insurance so you can wreck. You buy it in case you do.
Yeah. Dude, I love what you're saying. I think we all in our businesses have these little black self-limiting beliefs or micro traumas or something we experienced in the business that was like, oh shit, that could have been horrible. Or watch your truck burn to the ground. Like I know a couple people who have had their trucks, 50 grand in equipment just burn and incinerate to the ground. And can you get over that stuff and keep going anyways? And this difference that makes a difference.
the way a human's mind works, he remembers the best thing that ever happened, the worst thing that ever happened, and the most recent. Everything else goes away. If I was able to address everybody that will ever watch this video and say, hey, what'd you have for dinner last Thursday? 99% of them ain't got a clue.
Mm-mm.
But they'll remember the one car wreck and they'll do all this strange stuff. And I said, well, how long ago was that? Well, wasn't that long ago. That's not a number. I need a number. Well, it was probably like 5 years ago. So you're driving around like this, doing all this stuff to avoid what happened one time in 5 years. How many road trips have you taken since then? And that's the thing about systems, Keith.
Yes.
Systems are a process you put together that works on most of the calls, most of the time, with most of the texts and most of the customers and most of the cases. You have to understand that there will be some exceptions as you go along, but you have to manage to the exception, not for the exception. Because if you manage for the exception, you get so scared you think it's going to happen every hour and a half, and it doesn't.
Oh, I just got a cramp in my leg. Oh, did you laugh with my fucking... Bro, man, your life... Joe Cunningham, entrepreneur, coach / life coach, bro. This is great. I hope everybody's listening on the Untrapped podcast and laughing with me. Man, I love it.
Well, I'd like to talk to everybody that's watching. Give me a call, send me an email, however you'd like to contact me. And, I enjoy talking to people and I enjoy hearing about their businesses and doing what I can to help them.
Dude, you're brilliant. How can everybody find you and tell everybody about the home service checklist?
Okay. The home service checklist. All of you need to check this out. I don't care what trade you're in. You go to www.homeservicechecklist.com.
I'll put it in the chat right here.
If you'll go up there and ask for a demo, it's going to give you a demo. Somebody will call you, they'll contact you and show it how it works and use it. I mean, you've never had your life made easier than when you put this in place, ever. It takes a lot of the worry away. That system and implementation stuff, this gives you the system and AI makes you implement it. So it's not all left up to you. You're not there all by yourself pushing 20 guys to do what you want them to do. This makes it possible. So that's how you check out the home service checklist. If you want to reach me, just email me, joe9152@verizon.net. Or I'm going to give you my cell number. Just call me.
Don't do that, bro. Dude, we got 80 million views. We got 8.5 million views last month.
I got a lot of time. That's okay. just email me. I'll be happy to go over whatever you'd like. Go on the internet. If you want to see what I've done, just Google my name and air conditioning. It'll tell you what I've done. I'm no secret. And, I can help you do the same thing I've helped hundreds and thousands of other businesses do. And that's succeed better than you've ever succeeded in your life.
Dude, you're so confident too. Joe Cunningham, special guest. Love it on the Untrapped podcast. If you're catching the end of this, you can catch the replay on Apple and Spotify. We just crossed 1 million downloads. Look for Joe Cunningham, HVAC. Those will be the keywords in there. You can listen to it again. And then, do you have any live events around the country or anywhere? Anybody?
I usually do. I will be at Service World Expo in the fall. All the spring stuff just got over with, and now they're booking all the fall stuff. So I usually go to 5 or 6 different ones. And like I said, we have a school here, and I'm starting to do more stuff online. I never did a lot of stuff online, but we're starting to book more people online for our training classes. Like next week, well, for about the next 3 weeks, I'm doing some special one-on-one company stuff because, in the air conditioning and plumbing business, we're having a big shift right now where people are going from what used to be a replacement heavy opportunity situation when you're out there to where the people are backing up, and it's a service heavy year. We're having more service this year than anybody else, than any year that I can remember of. But the thing about it is there are 3 or 4 service options that nobody even thinks about offering that are the easiest thing in the world to offer a customer, and the customers love every one. I mean, just offering it today to a gentleman whose whole air conditioning system had gone out. and he couldn't afford a new one. And he's 92 years old, and he only lives in a couple rooms in his house. So rather than him replacing a $15,000 or $20,000 air conditioning system, we're going in and doing what we call modular air conditioning, or a mini split, to keep the 2 or 3 rooms he likes best of all cool and comfortable for him at a fraction of the cost. We go into these houses and people tell them, oh, your system's 7 or 8 years old. You got this wrong and that wrong and this wrong. You need to replace it. And to replace it, $15,000, $20,000. We're running into those people, and their air conditioning system still has good bones. It has a good compressor. It has good blower motors and fan motors. Just the electrical components are fading and dying. They've got a lot of duct leaks. We do a system restoration for them. And the system restoration we sell for anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. It's a fraction of what a new one costs. We give them a 3-year limited graduated warranty, and the people love us. And after 3 years, then they buy a new system from us anyway. We get 2 sales instead of 1. It's amazing what you can do if you just try. So those are just a few of the things that we're doing, and I'm teaching people how to do them. And it's really making a big difference. So, if you have particular things you'd like to do, and I don't care what industry you're in, it's all relative. Just give me a call or go online and send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you figure that out. And then it'll get online and we'll put it in place. I do 1 day for the management in this particular program. Managers 1 day, technicians the next day. So you know how to run it and get the guys to do it, and then the guys know how to do it. And then if you need to, a week or 2 later, we'll do a follow-up, make sure everything's still working. It's easy. I give you the path. All you got to do is follow it.
Love it. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I had fun. I always do.
Yes, that was so fun. Joe Cunningham, homeservicechecklist.com. Go check it out. And everybody, if you love the show, go on Apple and Spotify, leave it a well-worded positive 5-star review. It helps boost the show's rankings, and we can reach more people and inspire more lives. All right, later.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
Later.
Hey, I hope you liked the show. And if you like the Untrapped podcast and you get value from it, can you please take a minute and go over to Spotify and leave it a well-worded positive 5-star review? It helps boost the rankings on Spotify so the show can get to more people. Therefore, these messages can get out to more people and inspire more people so then they can go out and start their small businesses and crush it and get to the next level. It's a huge deal. All right, I'll see you in the next show.